Hi guys, it's morning. We're going to call this Drive Time with Dave. Sounds very exciting, Drive Time with Dave. So, got some more good questions overnight from my last video. And so we're going to do question and answers this morning. Again, I repeat myself 1,000 times in every video. Oh, seatbelt. All right. So, I repeat myself over and over and over. I say the same things over and over and over and over and over and over and over. It actually helps me to remember things. I've done it since the beginning. It doesn't matter whether you write something over and over, you repeat something over and over, you live it over and over and over. I joke with my wife, that my life is Groundhog Day, because that's all I do is say and do the same things over and over and over. And last night she said, you're getting trapped in a loop. You say the same thing over and over. Well, at some point, saying it over and over, I'm going to believe it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to understand it. It's like I wake up and suddenly I've had an epiphany about the entire whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that I'm trying to get at. So in this case, we had a question about Goodwill, right? So Goodwill retail stores, there's nothing necessarily special about the situation. When you go into a Goodwill retail store, you can simply just go in. I would go to the rack and grab, my 50, my 100, my 200 items. And when you walk around the store, you check everything out. There's a lot of stuff in Goodwill retail stores outside of clothes. When you go in, you need to just slow down and start thinking about everything that you see. Is it resellable? There's a lot of toys in Goodwill retail stores. A lot of stuffed animals. And stuffed animals are, they're that $5, $10 item. Ship it for a couple of bucks. A lot of what we do is really volume. Let me back up. 98% of what we do is volume. 2% of what we do is that I bought this Toshiba DVD player. It's a 4K DVD player. I bought it brand new in a pawn shop for $50, and it's up for sale for $375. That falls within that 2%, right? So you gotta look for the diamond in the rough. The diamond in the rough is what offsets the volume. The volume is what keeps the paycheck coming in. The volume keeps the bills paid. The volume only makes money when you're processing 10,000 pieces a month. Then, when you're doing 10,000 pieces and you're making $2, well, suddenly it makes sense. Now you're making $20,000 a month, but you're processing 10,000 pieces. Probably more pieces than you and your wife and everybody you know can process. And that's when out of your 10,000 pieces, maybe you're really making $3, but after you pay employee costs, right? So if you got 10,000 pieces, you're making $3, it's 30 grand, you're gonna spend 10,000 on employees. Well, $10,000 on employees is a pretty good number. I mean, a typical, you get somebody that's really good at sorting inventory, processing, evaluating, answering customer emails. That's $500 a week person. Well, for $10,000, you can have 2 of those people in a building, a $6,000 a month building. You want to get a $4,000 a month building, which for $4,000 around here, you could get, let's say you can get 3,000, 4,000 square feet. You can get a pretty good sized building. And then you're going to have $600, $700 in electric, a couple $100 in internet, and boom, you got more problems than you ever thought you're going to have. Because when you get into volume based and you're dealing in thousands of pieces, the percentage chances of problems exponentially go up with diminishing returns. You know, there's in business, a school of thought, if I buy that one Toshiba item and I sell it and I make $300 and I did it all by myself, well, yes, that's awesome. But the other side to that is, when it takes 3 months to sell, what have I really made, right? So I didn't really make $300, because when you divide the $300 profit per 3 months, well, yeah, it's still a huge profit number, 100 and something percent on my return, but it took 3 months to get the money back. So yes, I still made good money, but no, it defeats the purpose of being able to turn my money in a reasonable amount of time. Because if you apply the same math to a $10,000 purchase, and well, if you spend $10,000 and you're going to make, 3 times your money over 3 months, well, then that seems reasonable, because then you'd be making $10,000 a month, and that feels a lot better. I stand corrected, but there's still can you spend $10,000 or 75 or whatever that dollar is, and it take 3 to 4 months? Because there's still in the case of the DVD player, that it takes 3 months to sell. So if you spend $10,000 and it takes you 3 months to process inventory and it to sell, that means you won't have any money for 3 months. That's a problem. So when you're looking at volume based, in my case, and this is just specifically to me, that I buy stuff on a daily basis. Every day, new opportunities present themselves. But I also have a huge network of suppliers. And sometimes it's nothing more than, a couple of hundred of one thing. It's not even a pallet. It's just a few hundred of one thing that somebody's going to put in a box. It's 200 pair of safety scissors for elementary schools, right? Well, somebody calls me up and goes, "Hey man, we got a broken case. We can't sell it off to one of our normal distributors. You want a broken case? Yeah. How much?" Because that's all I care about. They know when they call me, my first question is how much. The case pack is broken. What is the value? See, and the way I look at it is, the value is broken along with the case. So at that point, if a case of those things there's like 100 pair in a case, or 200 pair in a case, or whatever the number is, there's a value there that, let's say they're $2 or $3 for a case. Well, when you're dealing with school supplies, it's not necessarily that you're going to be selling to individuals. So the distributors are distributing cases out to their wholesalers, right? And so the wholesalers may be dealing with the school board. Well, I'm not. So when you call me and you're like, "Hey, yeah, these things are, $3 a piece," and I'm like, "Yep, they're worth 50 cents. Well, when you don't know what else to do with them, you're stuck with me. And that's not good for them, it's good for me, right? It's also not good for me because they know when they call me that I'm going to be like 50 cents. So sometimes, I call up, "Hey, you guys haven't called me in a week, what's going on?" "Well, you're the cheapest guy around." I know. "Well, we can't always sell it that cheap." Okay. I know they're going to call. They know they're going to call. They didn't have anything this week. So we take that example and we apply it to goodwill. You go in the store, sometimes you can buy it that cheap, and sometimes you can't. I've said it before, I'll say it again. You go in a pawn shop, sometimes you can buy it that cheap, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can go in there and you're going to go, "Hey, I'm going to buy all 300 of your video games you got on the shelf for $1 a piece." And he's like, "Yep, because they're not selling. When those guys have tens of thousands of dollars, $50,000, $100,000 worth of inventory in that store, and every day they walk in there and they're looking at the same inventory because they've got stuff marked too high, it becomes a problem for them. The only way that it makes sense for them is when you offer to buy it all. See, when somebody walks in there and they want to buy one video game for $1, man, come on, you're wasting my time. The fact is, you're wasting your own time. You're wasting their time and you're wasting your time. So, the art of the deal, make it profitable for both people. One, you empty a shelf. So, he then gets to start buying all over again. You get to start selling, where you didn't have that opportunity because you didn't have those 300 games. And it doesn't matter whether it's the test and measurement equipment. It could be, you could go in there and you've been in there every week for the last 3 weeks and you've looked at the same 9 iPods that he's got in that case. Well, they're going to be a bunch of money. So you come up with that dollar figure that's going to make sense. You walk in there, you say, hey, I want to buy, I've seen those in here. And he's going to go, yeah, you know, for some reason, those 9 I just can't sell. Maybe they're a little too scratched up. Maybe there's a couple of them that's got dead batteries. Maybe the battery doesn't last as long. Maybe you're going to need to go home, open that iPod up, which is just a couple of screws, buy a battery on eBay for $2 and put a brand new battery in it. There's a lot of maybes, which then leads me into the next question I got about drop shipping other resellers' material for a profit. So I don't have a lot of experience in buying other people's pieces on eBay, because that's buying sight unseen and then shipping it. And well, maybe if you're dealing with a really super high rated eBay seller, but then if you're dealing with a really high rated eBay seller, is there enough room for you to buy from them to resell so you know you're getting good product? So what happens when you buy and sell, you're using the sniper program? I don't know if that's what this question's about, but there's a sniper program. Almost everybody, I think, in the reselling world knows about it. So you're sniping all these things and you resell 20 items from 20 different resellers, and 19 of them have problems. You get 19 claims opened against you in a week, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, or a month. So you sell 20 items and you manage to squeak out what? I don't know. What kind of profit are you talking about? I mean, a few bucks? You know, you're taking a huge chance on the quality of the product not meeting the standard that you would want. So, you know, my success is based on the quality of standard. I want to be treated a certain way. I have an expectation, whether it's a restaurant, a product, whatever the customer service is. I want to be treated. I want to know if I have a problem, you're going to take care of me. I want to know that when I buy a product from you, it's going to be good. Right? You're removing that very important aspect from business. When you look at the success of any business, it doesn't matter whether it's Walgreens or Walmart, whether it's Outback, your favorite restaurant, Sonic, Steak Shack, you name it. When you have a problem, there's no question you're going to be taken care of. And you're not going to go back to a place that won't take care of you, or that doesn't serve you good quality, or they don't provide you with excellent service. You go to a place and the food's terrible, you're never going back. Well, yes, you could say all of our buyers on eBay are never coming back. But are they? They don't have to when they can leave you that nasty feedback. And then you get a few of those nasty feedbacks, and then you have a whole bunch of new problems because your account's going to be closed. So maybe drop shipping works for you. I don't know if drop shipping would work for me because, well, I'm scared. I'm a scaredy cat because I don't operate that way. I want to make sure that the product is good working. If I've got used iPods, I make sure they work. I make sure that when I charge them up, we test them. We test the batteries on a multimeter. The same multimeter that I purchased in a pawn shop at a great rate, that one day when I don't need it anymore, well, I'll resell it too. So all aspects, everything has to go together. It's a giant puzzle, and you have to put that puzzle together, and that puzzle makes a beautiful picture of success. And that answers those two questions. So for now, please keep the questions, comments coming. It gives me, more time to make more videos. And again, I say it again, I really don't know how to share my videos if I could help anyone else. So maybe everyone that's watching can help me. I have no idea. I only know how to buy and resell. I don't know how to market videos on YouTube. So again, guys, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.